guys, Chad here from CNR Reviews. Well, it's time to do another gun comparison, and today we're going to be comparing the Bersa BP9CC to the Glock 26. Now, how we like to do our comparison videos is we like to talk about features first, go over the features of both these weapons. Then we're going to do a size comparison. We usually don't give you numbers on sizes. If you want to see that, we recommend going to the manufacturer's website. Anybody can pull out a ruler, but we more like to just compare the size on video to you and show you how close they are and how similar. And then we're going to do a loaded weight comparison of the guns, and then at the end we'll talk about price. Let's go ahead and let's start with the new guy. This is the Bersa BP9CC Polymer Subcompact 9mm. A lot of people are familiar with Bersa. They're very famous for their Thunder series, which is their little 380s. They're kind of PPK clones. I believe this is Bersa's first offering of a polymer gun in the US, and it's kind of been overshadowed. This gun came out along with the Beretta Nano, the M&P Shield, the Springfield XDS around that time, and it hasn't really gotten a lot of press. And to me, so far, the build quality and everything is great on this gun. Let's talk about the features. 3-dot combat sights. They are unique. Not because of the 3-dot sight picture, which is pretty standard for the category, but because Bersa chose to make it where the rear sight is replaceable with a Glock rear sight, and the front sight is replaceable with a SIG front sight. So that should make it a little bit easier to get your hands on replacement sights. They're pretty standard. Good luck though trying to find just a rear sight for the Glock. I do know that SIG does sell just the fronts. Like I said, it being a polymer frame, I've got to give Bersa some kudos on the quality of the polymer. Very nice polymer. It's got some very interesting stippling, and it actually grips your hand really well. I've got to say it's one of the most comfortable grips I've felt on any of the subcompacts. If you have a very small hand, it's going to be great for you. Guys with bigger hands, I mean, you can wrap your hand totally around this grip. It actually lends some stability to the gun, and I really enjoy the grip. Comes with two 8-round magazines with a ambidextrous with an ambidextrous mag release, and unfortunately does not have an ambidextrous slide release. Other than that, Picatinny rail on the frame. You have a loaded chamber indicator at the top, very similar to like an LC9, and that's about it, guys. Let's talk about the trigger real quick. Very interesting trigger. You have a little bit of slack here from the pivot. It's very light. There's really no mush. It's just from pivoting the trigger, and then you have a crisp, clean break. Now, what is so interesting about this, we'll replace my finger, and we're going to show you the reset. And hopefully you can get this on video. It reset right there. I mean, it's got probably one of the shortest resets I have seen on the subcompact. The trigger is very light. I would say it falls into probably the 4.5 pound category. And it's got to be one of the lighter triggers I felt on any of these guns. And I would really recommend, if you're going to carry this, make sure you holster this weapon. If you're going to carry it in your pocket, get something that's going to cover that trigger, because you don't want to accidentally have this trigger go off in your pocket. Bersa does state in their manual, and also, by the way, their manual is available for download on Bersa.com, but it does state that the safest way to carry their firearms is with a round not chambered. So very interesting. Other than that, it does have some interesting safety features, which we will be going over in the first impressions video, and also we should be going over in the review as well. But it is basically just a lock here on the gun that'll lock up the trigger. They give you a key for it instead of having to have the big trigger lock. So something interesting. They put that on a lot of their guns. Let's talk about the Glock 26, guys. This gun is probably one of the more popular subcompacts out there. This one is wearing a set of Meprolite night sights, 3-dot. I know a lot of you are familiar with the standard Glock sights, which is just kind of like the U shape on the rear sight and then the dot in the front. This is a great gun. This shows you this gun has been so popular, everybody makes accessories for it, really. From Trigicon, Meprolite, True Glow, XS Big Dot. So you have a wide range of options for sights if you want to go with them. Again, a polymer frame gun. Glock's got a great polymer frame. It feels very good. I did end up putting set of Talon grips on my 26, and part of that was because I didn't really care for the stippling on the Gen 4. Not to say it's bad, but I really actually like the Talon grips on there. This is a Gen 4, by the way, and it does come with 3 10-round magazines, which is awesome. Thanks, Glock, for giving us extra mags. This one is wearing a Pierce pinky extension on it, and I actually have it on 2 of my other magazines. Is it really needed? No, to be honest, it's really not, but I really like having that pinky extension. You can call me a wimp or a puss or whatever, but I really actually enjoy having that for my pinky. I don't have it on all the guns, but does it help? Does it not help? You know, it's all personal preference. This is just a 0. This is not a +1 or +2 for rounds, but it is nice. It does feel good, and they're about $7 or $8. Other than that, very interesting trigger on this one. This one's wearing a 4-pound connector, Glock factory connector. They actually no longer call it a 3.5 pound. They call it now the 4-pound. So it's got maybe a little bit different trigger pull, a little bit lighter. We'll just show you the pull. Nice crisp clean break. The reset on this one actually is almost all the way back to normal. We'll just show you, and there we go. A little bit less, but you get that mush there a little bit at the beginning. It does have the Glock safety trigger, which I wish Bersa had done something like that. It just would have made it a little bit easier to carry this guy safely. Is this a true safety? That's to be debated. It's a little bit too easy to push as far as I'm concerned. And you could still easily have something go into that trigger guard and hit it and have it go. But it is considered a safety. Other than that, guys, this gun, like I said, is awesome, and we highly recommend the Glock 26. The only other difference that this one has is that it has a stainless steel guide rod. I don't really care for the plastic guide rods, and by the way, the guide rod on the Bersa is also metal, which is nice. We've had them break in the past. That's not to say that yours is going to break, but I just would prefer just to totally cut that out, and it really only adds a little bit of weight to the gun. We're talking probably 1/4 ounce or something like that. It's very little. So let's go ahead and let's do a size comparison of the guns. Like I said, we usually don't like to throw out numbers of going, this slide is 1.1 inches and this slide is 1.45 inches and whatnot. We're actually going to do a visual comparison of them. We're going to put butt end to butt end and show you. So let's go ahead and let's do that. As you guys can see, because of the little beaver tail stuff back here and the extra polymer, when you stick them end to end, the Glock is just a little bit longer. Part of that's because the barrel protrudes. If you line up the slides together, the slides are almost identical in length. As far as width goes, the Glock is just going to be a little bit wider. Is it going to be crazy in difference? No. The Bersa is just a tad bit thinner. Other than that, let's go ahead and let's look at the size of the, or actually the length of the grips. We'll show you. Now, the length of the grip is going to determine how much it's going to print if it's in a holster. And unfortunately, the Bersa is just a tad bit taller. Even though it has less capacity, which we're going to go over in a little bit on why, but the Bersa being 8+1, the Glock being 10+1, and even with the extended pinky extension on the Glock, as you guys can see, Bersa still is longer. So as far as width goes, now this goes to where capacity is really important. The Glock grip is a very wide grip, and part of that's because it is a double stack mag. So because it's a double stack mag, you get that wider grip. If you have small hands, it's going to be harder for you to grip this Glock. If you have smaller hands, the Bersa is going to be the one that you're going to want to go with. It just has a very thin grip. But remember, you are losing a 2-round capacity. So let's go ahead and let's do a loaded weight comparison. We don't like to load. We don't like to weigh our guns unloaded. That's not how you carry your gun, and these are carry guns. So let's go ahead and let's weigh the Bersa first. I'm going to pull the mag, and there's the gun. And remember, 8+1 capacity for a total of 9 rounds. And there's 9 rounds on there. and I am getting 24.9 ounces. I've had it go back and forth between 24.9 and 24.8. It all depends on how the scale is quite sitting, so we're going to call it 24.9 in this video. I think that's a pretty standard weight when it comes to subcompacts. It's going to compare well with a lot of the other guns. Let's go ahead and let's pull off the rounds, and let's do the Glock 26. 110 round mag. Now remember, the weight's going to change just a little bit because of that little bit extra weight on the stainless steel guide rod and the pinky extension, but it's not going to be any more than, I would probably say, I'd estimate it to be about a ½ ounce difference or so than what the standard 26 is going to be. So let's go ahead and do 10 plus 1. Load up 11 rounds. And 10, 11. Alright, I am getting a weight of 26.8 ounces. Now, standard Glock 26 fully loaded is going to weigh in about the 26.2, 26.3 ounce range. This one with the extra upgrades is 26.8. So we got about a 2 ounce difference between these two. Some people are going to say, wow, that's huge. Others are going to go, you know, it's not a big deal. You have to remember you're getting 2 extra rounds if you need them. So again, it all becomes personal preference. I conceal the Glock 26. This is actually my concealed carry weapon during the fall and winter. And it conceals just fine, guys. I've got no complaints. It does weigh down your pants and stuff. Just beware of that when it's fully loaded. And if you stick it in a really loose pocket, it can print and weigh down the jacket as well. Let's go and let's talk about prices. This is where there's going to be some bigger differences. I paid over $500 for the Glock. I want to say it was about $530 after tax. I'm looking at about $580. So it's not a cheap gun. This was the Gen 4 version. Yes, I did get 3 magazines, and I'm not going to complain about that. I really like that Glock gave us that many. But they are an expensive gun. They're not going to be super cheap. Is it overly expensive? You know what? There's a lot of other guns in the category that go way past the Glock in price. So this guy I would consider is about mid-range pricing. The Bersa BP9CC I picked up for about $370. The $370 price range is going to be pretty common, I would assume, throughout the nation. I wouldn't go over maybe $380, $390 for this gun, and definitely don't pay over $400. I'm sure you could probably find them in the $360 to $370 range pretty easy. Unfortunately, the availability of it is the question. I have not seen any of these, but this one, at any of the gun shops I've been going to. I just so happened to see this one sitting in the case at Sportco, and it sat there for 3 months. And I don't know if anybody even looked at it. I ended up picking it up, and they were surprised I was even interested in it. And I picked it up, played with the trigger a little bit, was very impressed with the grips, and said, you know what, let's go and let's do a review on this guy. Because I had heard about it, like I said, in 2011. And to me, the gun looks really big. When you get it in your hands and you compare it to others in the category, it's very slim. It actually competes really well with like the CW9, even the Glock 26. So it's not overly big for the category. But I think it's being overshadowed. A lot of people have gone with the Shield. A lot of people have gone with the Springfield XDS. Yes, they have a 9mm version coming out of that. You got the CM9 out. You got the LC9 out. You got the new SIG out. So there's a lot of options out there. And unfortunately, Bersa hasn't gotten the press that I really think it deserves. So if you get a chance and you're at the store, you see one of these guys, make sure you get the clerk to let you handle this gun. I think you'll be really surprised on how well it feels, how solid it feels. I mean, the slide to frame is really nice. There's no rattle. It feels very solid. The gun has got some really unique features. One of it being that trigger, very interesting trigger. And that trigger is just going to help you stay on target a little bit easier. I really think it's a great gun. So if you get a chance, check out the Bersa BP9CC. If you have never handled one of the Glock 26, I recommend you doing that. It is also a great gun, guys. So check out both of these. If you have any questions regarding either one of them, feel free to ask. Check out our channel if you want to see more videos on comparisons, reviews, accessory reviews, or you just want to check out some fun videos. Thanks a lot for watching. This is Chad from CNR Reviews, and have a good day.